Previously in our Valheim journey, we were ready to tackle the Elder. After some time discovering what we needed, we were able to raise the Elder and fight it. This boss had some sort of root, tentacle, pin. We had archers on the roof, archers on the cliff. I was in the deep pocket. We were taking it down, and it was trying to focus everything. Eventually, we were able to take the Elder down, a relatively comfortable boss fight, and it dropped us a new item, a swamp key. We were obviously wondering what this meant. We definitely needed to find a swamp, but before that we were dropped off and we picked up the buff that slaying this god granted us. Then it was time to set sail. We had a new objective. It was time to find a swamp and unlock the mysteries behind this key. So off we went to discover new land. Eventually we pulled up at our first new location. We weren't too sure if this was going to have a swamp, but we hit land and we set up a small comfortable home with a little cooking station, little bench, and we began to explore the island. Tackling more chambers, slaying more skeletons, and picking up more cores was for sure going to allow us to advance, even occasionally bumping into ghosts of the past. We weren't too sure if we needed more portals, we weren't really too sure what we were aiming for. However, we were on new land, we were tackling trolls, grey dwarfs, and it was going okay. Eventually, we sort of cleared the island and there wasn't too much going on there, and we decided to again set sail for new land. This was just a small island and we figured we might have missed the area, so we set off, and in the deep of the night, a serpent, a sea snake, whatever you want to call this thing, chased our boat to the shore. We were pushed ashore and we took it down, and we were granted with scales, serpent meat, and things to make shields and decorations. I love these procedurally generated environments and these events that just happen. We pulled up on this coastline. Again, it was a lovely warm welcome, parrying trolls, been attacked, and with this time we sort of figured out that okay, there's a mountain on this one, and we headed up the mountain. To avoid freezing, we built small bonfire pits along the way, and we built a temporary sort of fortification that gave us some height advantage to kill the wolves. We were able to get quite a few wolf pelts, quite a few trophies, and in the distance we were greeted by a dragon or a drake. We weren't too sure what this was going to drop us, and eventually after quite some time with set up and battling our way up this mountain, we were able to take down a couple of drakes and have a clear shot to the top of the mountain. Up here was not only obsidian but also a dragon egg. We weren't too sure what we were going to do with this, but we wanted to head back home. Using the bronze that we'd created out of getting out of the Bronze Age, we were able to create a much bigger boat, a long ship. Travelling was quicker, we could carry more stuff, and eventually we pulled up on another island and we actually found a swamp. Here we decided to get into the heart of the swamp and build a temporary base to sort of figure out what was going on, what did we need. However, placing that temporary hut and that house down seemed to aggro the entire swamp. We had poisonous blobs, we had leeches, we had draugrs, we had nests full of draugrs, and it was all getting too much to try survive in the heart of the swamp. It didn't feel right, so we decided to just back out, get out of there, and sort of set up another temporary base, a bit of a stronger hold. Eventually pushing our way through the swamp, we found this lovely meadow, calming music. We decided to rest up, found a little village with some houses, and in the houses typically are of course a massive load of draugrs and nests. It appears that if you visit the meadows near swamps, everything is infested and everything is much more difficult. The swamps have definitely been a testing area. You're cold, you're wet, you have no stamina, everything hurts a lot more, there is poison damage, and it was just getting very, very difficult to survive in there. So clearing out this sort of area, this land, we had a little bit more of a foothold and we went exploring. Eventually, after some time exploring the swamp, we came across these lit up gates, and we figured this is where we must take the key. So we took the key, and with a mystical tune we opened up the door and we were into the sunken crypts. Now in the sunken crypts there was again more wetness, darkness, more drowning, more draugrs, more green lights, but importantly, there was these muddy, mineable piles that were giving us iron. This was the first time we'd had iron in the game, and this was definitely an advancement. We'd moved out of the Bronze Age and into the Iron Age now, and we were able to mine our way through these crypts and pick up quite a lot of scrap iron. We weren't exactly sure what we needed to do with it. We needed to smelt it. We needed to push deep into these crypts and take out the enemies that were spawning. And inside were these chests laden with gifts of so much iron we couldn't even carry it. So what we did was we ferried it back and forth. We went and mined all of the crypts in this swamp area. There was around 4 or 5 crypts. And we even found withered bone in here, which we figured because it's next to the iron, we might need it. So what we ended up doing was we ended up smelting down this iron and sailing it back to our port house, which we'd built. Nice, calm, moonlit seas. This game is super chill, really surprisingly detailed. It visually looks very, very good, and it's just been a lovely, pure enjoyment playing the game. I have really, really enjoyed playing this series, and just, you know, having the music on, riding through the waves, progressing, coming across little things like this. Inside of the swamp we were able to climb up one evening, and it was a bit quiet, and we managed to farm these trees with these green sort of sacks of gunge. This was able to create coloured banners, and farming the leeches would give blood bags that also let us farm red banners. Occasionally in the swamp there was even these mystical ghosts in the sky that would come and attack you, and eventually we took a few down, which gave us chains. So now we had bronze, we had iron, we had chains, we had a whole host of equipment. We were able to make cooking pots, stronger forges, and we were really advancing. We could create some potions. We could use the entrails from the enemies to create sausages with the thistle. So that's what the thistle was used for. And setting up a farm of bees gave us enough honey to continually make this food. And as you can see now, in the meadows, we've built this lovely big building with a bonfire. It has like a little drawbridge entrance. It has a little garden area to the side that you can see. It's got honey there. It's got a lovely inside, and we're going to decorate this all with the statues. So what we did was we smelted down this iron and we sailed it across, and we took it back to the port house, and we began to forge our new weapons, armor, and we put it all on the car and we walked it back to the main base. At this point we have 3 bases, and at this point we're getting pretty good at parrying. It's kind of like a Sekiro mini game, and it's super satisfying when you just do a load of chain parries. But at this point, yeah, we have iron, bronze, we have potions, we've got good food, and I was even feeling so confident that I took the boat out, the smaller boat, for a maiden voyage. This was my first time sailing, and it's nice. As long as if you get the wind in the right direction, it's not, and the seas are calm, it's a nice relaxing journey. It took around about half an hour of real time gaming to sail the iron back and forth. And that's the joy of having your own little server, is it's online all the time and you can bob on when you want and pop off. So with our self-sustaining carrot farm and our lovely home and our smelters and our bonfires, we were beginning to have quite a lot of stuff. We were creating more armor and we were getting comfortable. Eventually, Don Draper discovered this skull, which has a clue behind it that was able to raise the boss. Reading the clue, we figured out we'd probably need that withered bone, and summoning it with 10 withered bone got up this Bonemass. Clues in the name, I suppose. And we summoned him and we were ready to tackle the boss now. We had our poison potion ticking. We were well rested. It was wet, it was raining, but we had strong bows, iron bows, flint arrows. We were going in close, we were meleeing him, and it just wasn't doing any damage. Spawning huge poison waves, blobs, creatures and critters and skeletons. We were doing no damage, and there was something wrong. So we headed back, and we decided that the maces were going to be the best option here. He'd even wiped out me a couple of times. He'd wiped everyone out. There was a large amount of poison going on. But we realised that the the spears, the arrows weren't doing much. It was all about the maces, so we farmed that little bit more iron, and we all got ourselves a shield and some maces, and we began to commit on the boss. You can see here he's spawning this, what we were calling the big bath of poison, and we were smashing it down, and we were getting there. His health was actually depleting, and this was definitely the toughest boss we've had. Just the sheer amount of poison blobs that were appearing, the rain, the wet, the swamp is a horrible place, and I'm hoping we don't have to be here much. Eventually we gave the call to commit, and all 4 of us wielded down with everything we've got, and we committed on him with all of our mace skill, all of our stamina, and he was going down. And then we were pretty confident that here we were able to take him down. And that leaves us with episode 2, and that is where we are. We've sort of cleared the swamp, we have a ton of iron, we've got some bases set up, and he was dropping a wishbone, which lets us find buried treasure and iron without going into the swamp. So hopefully things will be a little bit more calm now. So thanks for tuning into this episode. Do leave a like and a comment if you're enjoying it. I'm hoping the Gears of War fans are here to support, and if you are, again, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. And if you are feeling generous, you can tip a coffee with a link in the description, or you can join the YouTube page for as little as $1.99, and you get membership only videos, badges and other perks that you can join, like the Discord and get in the subscriber only section. So there are plenty of ways to support me, and you know, this is me sort of branching out into games that I actually enjoy playing, and I hopefully can put across a little story that maybe each evening or occasionally you can tune into and say, you know what, I'm going to sit down and watch a little GGZII video, let's see what he's been up to. So thanks for all the support over the past few weeks, it's been wonderful. We'll see you in the next video.